Yeah, after watching the tape from last week's game against Idaho State, a lot of good stuff. Run game, thought the O-line played extremely well, blocked, physical, tight ends as well. Things we got to clean up. We can't take sacks in the red zone, turnovers in the red zone. So there's stuff to clean up, but very pleased with the first game and how it was operated. Obviously, we got a tough challenge with San Diego State coming up this week. Good team, talented team, well-coached team, and then playing on the road is always a challenge. So we got to be at our best and improve from game one to game two.
After watching the video, what were your impressions of how Giovanni played and then Jabari as well?
Yeah, Giovanni did exactly what we asked him to do. He operated the offense. We didn't do a ton in the passing game, mostly because of the way the game was going with our ability to run. But he made the plays we needed him to make, and he was 9 of 10 passing, so he was accurate and efficient. Thought he did a good job. And then Jabari kind of showcased why we are so intrigued by him and like him. Got a little bit of athleticism. That one run was pretty impressive, but he's got some big-time talent, so I was happy with him.
When you did pass, the few times you did, what was your impression of the pass protection?
It was good. I mean, didn't get hit. The pocket was clean, especially that touchdown pass. The protection was great. I mean, just nice, clean pocket for Giovanni to throw in. So I thought the pass protection was good.
And then a week ago, you kind of alluded that Ben might play in the game. Did things change during the week to change that? Or?
Not during the week, just probably the game and the way the game was going. You know, especially in the first half, it was tight until we, that middle eight, we kind of separated ourselves. But it was probably more just the game.
So you alluded to the pass run distribution on offense kind of being the way the game unfolded.
Yep.
It wasn't your intention going into the game to be maybe so conservative in the approach?
Well, one, we knew we could run the ball. We want to run the ball. And then when you play those spread offenses, they want plays, right? If they get 80 to 100 plays, they're going to score a lot of points. So limiting their ability to do that was part of it, yes.
And then on the injury front, we didn't see Darius on Saturday. What do we know about him going forward?
Yeah, he should be hopefully available this week. We'll find out as the week goes on, but we're hoping he'll play Saturday.
Staying on the injury train, I wanted to ask about Olu and Tyge Hill, just kind of where are those two at?
Yeah, Olu, same thing, should be back this week. Unfortunate early in the game with his shoulder, but he should be back this week, and then Tyree's good as well.
And just coming off watching that tape from Saturday, how are you feeling about the run defense right now, just the ability to stop the run?
I mean, I feel fine. We weren't really challenged, and that wasn't a big part of their game or what we were trying to do either. Right? They're a passing team that is going to run just to keep you somewhat honest. So I feel good about it, mostly because of what I've seen in practice against our offense, and we're pretty good run offense.
On that note, San Diego State obviously ran the ball really effectively. Just kind of how do you switch gears from defending a team that wants to throw it 17 times a game to a team like San Diego State that averaged 8.6 yards a carry?
Yeah, I think we're playing an offense that's more like our offense, the things that we see. So last week was unique in a lot of ways, not only their offense, their defense, and so we're kind of back to what we're more familiar with and what we've practiced against. So I'm excited about that.
Prepping for a night game, does that change any way at all this week?
No, it doesn't change anything than just dealing with the time, right? It's a long day. You're waiting around, but it really has no other effect.
How much do you feel like you guys showed on defense Saturday? Much at all?
Nah, not really. I mean, we ran our core of what we do, but as far as exotics, we didn't do much.
I mean, was that a little bit by design? Why show other teams what you're doing?
Yeah, it was by design, and then just first game, like let's line up, let's play fast, and don't trick ourselves.
Thomas Collins looked like he had a pretty good game getting through. Did you see anybody else? And what did you think that about Thomas? And then were there other guys you thought really showed up on the defensive line?
Yeah, I thought Thomas for sure. Jacob Schuster, he did some good stuff. Yeah, I was pleased with what they did. The ball was out fast, so there wasn't a ton of pass rush opportunity to get to the quarterback. Those offenses are typically like that. They get rid of the ball fast. But was encouraged by what they did, assignment-wise.
Yeah. This is the first road trip. You got a lot of new players. A former player told me once that this is where culture really comes in terms of, getting the newer guys on the same page. How do you attack a first road trip like this?
Yeah, I think it's just discipline and one, setting the expectation for them. The guys have been great, and everything we've asked them to do, there's been no, like, fight back from them, like, hey, we're wearing this shoe, or we're wearing this shirt underneath. Like, even in the game, the refs made a big deal about the shirt we were wearing underneath our jersey, they changed, and it was smooth. And so these guys I've been impressed with the way they handle themselves.
A lot of teams are going to have some first-year coaches, difficult to scout, yourself included. So with that, Sean Lewis, San Diego State, what do you use? What tape do you go to, and how do you feel about it?
Yeah, we look back at what he did at Kent State, and then Colorado as well, and, then what they did last week. And so you kind of piece that together and get, what does he like to do? What's their offense going to be?
They go with a true freshman quarterback. How did you think he looked on tape, and what do you got to do to slow him down?
Yeah, he did a nice job. I think it's just, we got to play like we always, tighten coverage, make him make throws to contested windows, and I feel good about our ability to do that.
Andre got the start at that field corner spot, but, Kobe ended up playing, only 12 fewer snaps than him. Just kind of how are you feeling about that spot? You foresee any changes there?
Well, it's really an ongoing competition, I think, at every position. I was very impressed with Andre. I thought he covered very well. They tested him, and he rose to the challenge. And then Kobe, again, I think we got guys in the back end that we're going to play more than just 5 or 4. And so I feel good about the depth and the ability to rotate to stay healthy and fresh as the game goes on.
A couple of first game questions. Tackling, did you feel like it was better than you might expect for a first game, or how did you feel?
I felt okay with it, especially because a lot of the tackling was in space, and I thought they did a good job of that. There's always going to be things to clean up, angles and leverage and all those things, but for the most part, there wasn't a bunch of egregious missed tackles.
And penalties came up on Saturday in here. There was obviously, one guy that had a lot of them, but
Yep.
there wasn't a false start penalty, which that's pretty uncommon for a first game, isn't it? Not to get a
Yeah,
false start penalty.
the procedure stuff didn't show up, which is great.
From a penalty standpoint, did you feel like it was pretty clean, other than the one issue with one player?
Yeah. I think we're going to get, like, penalties are going to get called, especially if you're being aggressive. Like the effort penalties, I don't concern myself with as much. We can clean up technique. Okay, here's how you don't get them. But the things that we have 100% control of, those are the things that, like I said, after the game, got to go away. But it was a good learning point. The targeting, because we talk about defenseless receiver, here's how you have to attack them. So there's good coaching things within those things.
As a coach, in regard to Isaiah Chisholm, what do you say to a guy like that when he has a series like that that's obviously impactful to the team and something you definitely don't want to see happen?
Yeah, it's really a learning lesson for a young player. Like the horse collar, one, he shouldn't be targeting that guy in that way. So the fundamental of how we teach tackling, that was totally wrong. And then, the personal foul, the guy shoved him, he shoved him back. Well, they're always going to get the second guy. So there's just a lot of learning stuff like that. And then we already talked about the defenseless receiver and how you protect yourself and protect the team by how you strike that guy.
Coach, when Sean Lewis got the job, they talked about, he said, we're going to be Aztec fast in terms of tempo. Do they, when they're playing the way they want to, and did it even show up in the TAMC game, where they like to go quickly almost all the time?
Yeah, that's most offenses nowadays. So it's not an unnatural thing. We do a ton of it. We practice a ton of it with our own offense. Yeah, they do a good job at that, but we're ready for it.
How did you feel the helmet-to-helmet communication thing went? Any issues with that? Did guys like it? Did the coaches report well on it?
It was good. Between Gundy and Giovanni and Jabari, it was real good. Gundy did a great job talking to those guys. And it's really just a calming voice, right? Hey, make sure you do this, look for that, especially in that 4-minute situation at the end of the half. Hey, take all the time here. Don't snap it before this. So I thought that communication was great. And then defensively, just the reminders, hey, make sure you remind them this, switch routes, all that stuff. But that's about all it is on defense.
there were true freshmen on either side that impressed, it seemed. A couple of them, maybe more, but Saladin Allah, what were your thoughts about the dimensions that he showed? And then Dexter Foster with a great tackle when he had a shot one-on-one to get a guy down.
Yeah, I thought those two for sure stood out, and I think they got tremendous potential. Yeah, Salah's going to continue to have a bigger role in the offense because of his skill set and what he can do, and to take a little bit of the load off of Jam and Hank. So, yeah, really impressed by him, and then I think Dexter Foster has a big-time potential to be really special, and we're going to keep getting him in game and growing.
Was there a lot of noise, personal noise for you and nerves and all this your first game? And with that, would you be happy if this was the last question about your firsts in football?
Yes. I don't get nervous. I think it's just when you prepare as much as I do, I feel confident in what we're doing, and confident. And so really it was more just anxious and excited to get started. Let's go. So it was good. And it was good. The situations that came up, kind of running through that in the first game was good. My communication with, the analytics and Coach Heck during the game of how we want to communicate to Gundy and to Keith, it was good.
Coach, one last thing from me, and that is how special of a moment, big of a moment was for Skylar Thomas after all that he's gone through to get an interception, bring it back upfield, and make that kind of play. How proud of you and happy were the guys, obviously, for him in a moment like that?
Yeah, just happy for him because he's a really good player. He's a great teammate, and he's battled some injury. And for him to finally be able to go out on the field and play well, I was excited for him.
Special teams, punts are small sample size. Did you learn much at all on that? And do you, with the deep snapper, is that just a one-time thing, or do you need to look at that position a little bit more?
I mean, we're going to look at it because it was an issue, right, the first snap. But again, it was a guy making his first college career start. I mean, there's nerves, there's all that stuff. And I thought he got better as the game went on, which was good to see. But it definitely needs to be cleaned up, and we can't have that stuff.
And then here's a bit of breaking news. Oregon State beat Michigan State in men's soccer,
Yeah,
2-1. Got anything to say on that?
No, that sounds right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Congratulations to them, yeah.
Thanks, Coach.